This week on Cartoon Dumpster Dive, we cover the cartoon C.O.P.S. Let's fight some crime. What's going on, Joel?
Oh, nothing much, Andrew. How you doing
We got
today?
two guests today. Ben and Matt Bors, creators of the Justice Warriors comic. How you guys doing?
It's crime fighting time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretend like we haven't been
podcasting
talking
time.
for at least like an hour and a half. So get ready for that Patreon bonus episode. But yes, this
Ready.
week we're gonna get ready to fight some crimes with C.O.P.S, the animated series. The Crooks have a better catchphrase, by the way. I want to get that in.
Crimes
Crimes a wasting? Oh my god, that's so much better. It makes me want to do crime. But before we get into the history of that episode of this series, let's review that theme song.
Let's hit it.
C.O.P.S, Central Organization of Police Specialists. Fighting crime in a future time. Protecting Empire City from Big Boss and his gang of crooks. It's crime
go.
fighting time.
What an
It
intro.
is
I love that
crime
guy's
fighting
voice.
time indeed. They fought a lot of crime in that intro. Well, no, it reminds me a lot of a show we covered called Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. If Joel, if you remember that one,
Yeah, like the intro does kind of make me think of Cadillacs and dinosaurs.
yeah,
And
Very
Andrew, as me and you both know, I don't know how Ben and Matt feels about Cadillacs and dinosaurs, but we loved Cadillacs and dinosaurs.
One I missed.
I've
it was
only
also
ever
a really
seen-
good comic.
Oh, did it have toys? Was it a toy? Was it a toy commercial?
Not
by any chance.
It wasn't made to sell merchandise, but I believe they had merchandise.
Ah, okay. One
Unlike
of those
this show that was made exclusively to hawk plastic to kids. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd give that intro about a 6,
I'll give it a 7.
7. What about you guys?
I have to give it a 10. For personal reasons, because the actual intro is directed by my animation and filmmaking mentor, Peter Chung. So I actually think it's a wonderful and thrilling piece of animation. It's way better than any part of the show.
It's not so much the animation as it is the music behind it.
Yeah.
I like the music. The music's fine. I just really like the intro to it. The laser cutting the highway bit has stayed
that's
with
a
me
great scene.
for like 30 years.
Yep.
And
Buttons
it's melted
McBoom
into my
Boom,
brain.
seeing the butterfly,
Yes.
and then strafe it with his chest. I mean, that stays with
That's
me.
classic Peter. That's classic Peter. I see Peter written all over this.
The
Giving it a 10 of 10. I mean, it could just be nostalgia. I'm willing to admit that that's it's hard to assess all these things objectively. But for Saturday morning cartoon intros, that and the energy of it, it's like it sticks in your head, and it's just it's got a ton of momentum to it. You're like, I mean, by the end of it, you're like, it's fucking crime fighting time.
This would be one of those intros that would come on Saturday morning as you're getting the bowl of cereal and you rush to the TV. You're like, it's on.
Joel and I don't
goes all
have the
downhill.
nostalgia part of our brain anymore because of this show.
Yeah,
I've mentioned that to you before. That was like, we don't have any nostalgia left. Like, we've ruined it.
No,
so it's nice to see two people with nostalgia being like, I love this.
Yeah,
it's the podcaster's curse.
The animation, I agree. It's incredible in this. And,
that's the sales pitch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Joel, let's start getting into some history. How did this get made?
So, this was, I mean, like you said, it's ultimately a show, what we call a Reagan show on this podcast. A show that was just made to sell action figures. It originally aired September 19th, 1988. Ran for 65 episodes in one season.
Good old pump and dump series.
Which is insane.
We got cute little names for all these things, by the way.
65.
Good. That's a good one. They were like, we got a window. We got to sell these toys. We're not trying to become Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We're trying to make, whatever, $5 billion. And then we're out.
So this was it's our good boys at it again, Andrew. Dick.
Oh yeah, Dick Animation.
So they did it. Clasto Television distributed it. Really, the only other kind of the thing I found that I thought was interesting, because when you mentioned that, these fine gentlemen was going to be on our podcast and they wanted to talk about this show, I thought this was a cartoon version of the show C.O.P.S, the live action, bad boys.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be the theme song. I was pleasantly surprised that it had nothing to do with that.
It even had to be renamed because it's an abbreviation for the cartoon because of the confusion with the Bad Boys, misery, fascism, fun time hour. That is the actual Cops show. It's a centralized organization of police specialists. I think that's the abbreviation, unless I'm wrong about that.
It also went by Cyber Cops in 1989 when Cops came out.
The line, which it launched with, is actually Cops and Crooks.
Yeah, the toy line is Cops and Crooks. It's got a ton of Cops.
They fucked up the branding on this royally. This is a crash fire.
They did.
Organization of Police Specialists. Give me 5 minutes, I'll come up with 3 names better than that. I mean, come on. I mean, cybernetic has got to be something with cyber.
Cybernetic.
Cyber Operation.
Plasticine submarine. I got nothing.
Submarine.
Cybernetic operators.
Cybernetic officers.
Punishing civilians.
There you go.
Central
Cybernetic officers punishing civilians. That starts with
perfect.
C.
But it's funnier.
Yeah,
actually.
You spell it with an S in that universe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, no C's.
But that's it. I know you guys, y'all really appreciate this show. I know I don't think we've mentioned this on this episode yet, but there is a comic book that you guys you're working on, written, and this show did have some influence on there. did I miss anything with the history? Was there anything that you guys wanted to add besides what you've already added?
Yeah, so we have a great book out, which is pretty influenced by this show, which is why we wanted to talk about it with you guys. We have our book out called Justice Warriors, which is Matt describes it as RoboCop cranked up. So it's as though you sort of combined this show with RoboCop, with the satire, with the irony of the original RoboCop movie, and like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Judge Dredd, made like a over-the-top satire of society out of this niche sort of mutant, violent cops doing a PSA world that you're familiar from the 90s. And Matt and I started talking about this idea, Justice Warriors, a few years ago, and something connected in us psychically when I mentioned Central Organized of Plasticine submarines, of pulverized scientists, because no one had ever, I don't think anyone had ever known about this show before in my entire life. And so Matt and I entered each other's bodies for a short period of time, psychically.
Y'all became one.
However the writing process was to make it is your business.
I'd go a bit further and say that it's hard to say specifically about cops influenced Justice Warriors. I guess I would say the character design, like the idea
sure.
of it. You know, it's very futuristic. So this takes place in Central City. Our comic takes
Empire
place in Bubble City. Oh, Empire City. Yeah. Ours takes place in Bubble City, which is a domed bubble that, you know, everybody lives on quality, diversity, and low interest rates. And it's kind of like techno-futuristic. Everybody there is living the best life possible. And outside in the uninhabited zone is where all the crime is and all the mutants. And then mutants are cops because that's the best job you can get in the uninhabited zone. And, you know, some, I think, direct influences on cops or on Justice Warriors from cops. The first, black police chief, in ours, she's called the Chief, and she's a woman, and she's cybernetic. And her deal is that she's super online all the time and arguing with people instead of, you know, managing the police. So she's not as competent as Bulletproof. There is a thing familiar there, and it's not just like, I don't know if it was a trope at the time, but like having a black police chief seems like they have that in RoboCop.
I was just about to say it's in RoboCop too.
It feels a little bit like a thing. And then the other is one of the best and most recognizable characters in Cops is Dr. Bad Vibes, and he has a glass dome on his head with a brain. And Ben brought that over into the character design of this character called Ratsinger in Justice Warriors, who's basically a cybernetically enhanced rat and is sort of a shady figure inside the bubble and sort of comparable to the director of the NSA.
Nice. Okay. Perfect.
And then vibes. Like, I love that opening sequence. Like, I'm not a huge fan after watching some of this drivel. The show is garbage. After watching some of the drivel for the podcast, I realized it's 100% that opening sequence. And it's maybe not an interesting anecdote, but I study under Peter Chung, who's the creator of Aeon Flux, Rugrats, Transformers, The Animatrix. He's an amazing animator and director. Really highly recommend checking out Aeon Flux, one of the first I think it is the first primetime adult animated television show ever made.
Aired on
I love
TV.
that Rugrats is also in there.
He's very proud of his work on
I mean, Rugrats is a good show, but it's just like Aeon Flux, the Animaniacs, or Animatrix, Rugrats. And
You
you're
know-
like, wait a minute. One of these things is not like the
Flux.
other.
and Flux, and then you watch the beginning, the introduction of Cops, and the original introduction to Rugrats. You'll be like, "Holy, this is Peter Chung!" Like they're
The
leveled
animation
up.
is unbelievable.
The Rugrats one is he does some crazy inventive stuff.
Yeah.
He animates perspective of a baby while it's walking through a room. And he would bring us through this in class and like show us like, oh, and we did this, and we didn't have computers back then. We did this all by hand, and like some of the best people working in the industry were here. That's not a very good Peter Chung impression. He's not British.
Oh, okay.
If I'm going to do an impression of Peter, I'll be like very grumpy and drink a lot of tea, I guess. I'll slurp a lot. Yeah, but like his work is unbelievable. Like you look at some of this early stuff, and like the Cops intro is one of those examples. So he would bring it out in class, and no one in class had heard of it, but I'm just like jumping up and down in my seat being like, you did Cops, oh my god, I didn't know you did Cops.
Nice.
And like it's brilliant work, and it's incredibly well considered, and then the rest of the show is just a trash file.
The rest of the show is done by Deke Entertainment, and that should speak for itself.
Yeah,
But we can let's move on to the voice cast of Cops.
hit us with.
We're not going to do them all because that we'd be here all night.
Those too
but
many
we'll do
cops
it.
and crooks.
Who did Bulletproof? I need to know.
Kevin Ryan is Agent Baldwin P. Bulletproof. Len Carlson is Brandon Big Boss Babel, Sergeant Colt Mace Howard, Walker Sundown Calhoun, Bugman and a newscaster. Paul D. La Rosa is Berserko. Ron Rubin is Dr. Bad Vibes. Louis the Plumber. Wayne R. Checkpoint Sneed the Third. God, that's a title. Brent Titcomb is Rock Crusher. Mary Long is Officer Tina Mainframe. Cassidy Commissioner Highwater. Ray James is David E. Highway Harlson. And Stan Barricade Hyde. And finally, John Stalker is Sergeant A. Longarm O'Malley. Favorite of the Cops, by the way.
Some of those guys were earning that paycheck, walking double characters.
Oh, yeah. No Frank Welker or Jim Cummings this time. Guess they were busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for their other works, we have Ken Ryan as a news anchor in The Long Kiss Goodnight. Len Carlson is the Black Knight in the 1966 Mighty Thor animated series. Paul De La Rosa is a bailiff in the 50 Cent movie Get Rich or Die Trying. Ron Rubin is Morph in X-Men the animated series. Brett Titcomb is Sleazy in the movie Rock and Rule, which Joel and I covered on this show. Mary Long is Catsy in Sailor Moon. Ray James is a writer on Family Guy. He didn't do much voice work after this. And finally, John Stalker is Murray in the Dream Team. So, now that that's out of the way, we can talk about this show in full detail. Does everyone have a favorite cop? It should be Long Arm O'Malley, because he's got the most cop. He's the long arm of the law.
I couldn't remember his name, so I was calling him Obedi to myself, which I thought was very funny. I thought it was very interesting to have O'Malley. They really needed someone whose superpower was racism.
Hey, I mean, they are cops after all. Come on.
It's in the handbook, right?
Yeah, it's in there in the training.
Yeah, that's operating procedure. I watched 3 episodes in preparation for this. And one of the episodes was with Hard Top, who I think is my least favorite cop because he's a fucking idiot. And in that episode, Hard Top runs into one of the crooks who's dressed as a waiter on a blimp. And Guy says, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm on parole. And he walks off. And then Hardtop's like, parole. And just
That's
starts
the guy who's
stroking
afraid
his
of heights,
chin.
right?
Yeah. And I'm just like, one, you're the vehicles expert who's afraid of heights. This is nuts. Two, you don't know what parole is. Major red flags. They're not sending their best.
Not to mention that all the crooks are stuffed into their tuxedos, like they're bursting at the buttons. It's like it's very obvious that these people are not supposed to be there.
Tell me if you agree with this statement. I think, and that's the first episode of the show.
Yep.
I found it to be exceptionally bad. It was. I know we're talking about a certain standard, right? I know I get that there's a certain standard. The morning cartoon stuff from 1988 that was pumped out, but I mean, I found that episode completely baffling and terribly just paced and everything. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, it's a very classic Deke entertainment. This was Deke in the 80s, so they still cared. We've kind of whittled down the timeline to where it drops off. It's somewhere around the time that MC Hammer's cartoon was made.
Yes, quality.
So, but Deke is, they don't like it when you call them that, but do it for cheap is what they kind of stand for in the cartoon nostalgia covering area of the world.
Who was it? We interviewed Christy Marks.
Christy Marks. Yeah, Christy Marks made it official. I'd always heard it on other podcasts, but she was like, she worked for these people. She shook Andy Hayward's hand and everything. So I was like, fuck, that woman knows that they're the cheap outfit.
Like Batman. I mean, the intro sequence is what stands out, and Cops fell off, and you didn't keep watching it or hear about it the way you did Ninja Turtles. But going back, it's like I want this cartoon to be as good as the X-Men animated series was.
Yes.
You want it. You want Cyber Cops 97 to come out.
Well,
so what year is Justice Warrior set in? Just a quick question.
Whoa, Justice Warrior. These are not permitted answers.
Oh,
I believe the official answer I have is it's in the year 2XXX.
Ah, okay.
Well, that's lore that's never been discussed between Matt and I. I believe in my head canon, because who cares? Who cares about canon or any of these things? In my head canon, people have forgotten what year it is.
Ah, okay. And Cops is set in the distant future of the year 2020.
I have a similar take to Ben. And that hasn't been figured out on the page is, there's been a lot that's been discussed between me and Ben, but this is interesting because we haven't actually talked about this part yet. So I don't have a year, but I do have the concept in my mind is that year it is, and no one has memory of our world. So if it's a future, then it's a future with no memory of the past, right? World events, capitalism, socialism, world wars, those things haven't happened. The starting point for the memory would be is an endless slum of mutantdom, and then some non-mutated people getting together and forming the basis of Bubble City, and then ending on that until you have a giant city and you've basically reestablished a hierarchy and stuff out of a roiling endless planet that's covered in a slum with no social services.
Well, you're miles ahead of the thought process it took for the year of Cops. They really put a lot of faith in the human race within the next 30 years with this thing being set in 2020. Like, I read that, I was like, what the fuck? No way. And it's just
set in 2020.
Set in 2020.
Set in Dubai.
I mean,
come on. In Dubai. Have you been to Dubai? It's basically, it looks like this. The Cop City.
Yeah,
my sister-in-law just got back from Dubai from the climate conference, ironically, and she said it was really nice. Air conditioning everywhere. The gym was great. There was better food than in Cairo. So why not? Let's Empire. What better place for Empire City to be than
Dubai? Yeah, you're probably right. So another thing that I really appreciated is Brandon Big Boss Babel. Len Carlson is doing an imitation of Edward G. Robinson. So if you've ever been curious as see, we got to do some crime over here. That's him. That's Edward J. Robinson. But to be a fatter and less intimidating Kingpin as like the crime boss, I truly appreciate it.
So stands out in memory is probably one of the most memorable things of the show is that guy.
Yeah.
I literally busted out laughing when I heard his voice because I was not expecting that voice.
Oh yeah.
I was just like, hold up. Wait 1 second.
Whoever casted it, whoever said, no, Big Boss sounds like this, I think.
You do a gangster voice? Do a gangster voice for me.
It was basically, he goes, you're the boss of a crime. He goes, oh, you want me to just go, see? They're like, precisely, do exactly that.
Great, perfect. We're recording 12 episodes today.
Can you do that 65 times in a row? Like, absolutely.
I also love
the crooks. I love that this show does a really bad job of like making law enforcement cool, because you could see how this would be like some sort of like propaganda. They'll be like, cops are your friends, because I was like, man, this show makes me want to do crime. The crooks look awesome. Like they're all big and buff, or like they got their brain showing.
I Googled how to get a gun implanted in my chest after I watched an episode.
That guy's cool. They even got a strong chick, Misdemeanor.
I love the best great name.
And she's really cool because she's not like traditionally attractive, but and she's built like she's like a bodybuilder, and you're like, hell yeah, Misdemeanor's fucking great character design, just like all the rest of them. You think the villains are best. Also, they get caught. Right? It's so funny. This comes at a time when it's like, okay, this is aimed at kids, and they're not trying to make any political statement and say cops are bad or anything, but fighting crime in a future time, and they are never winning. they never put this crew away. It's insane.
No, they are also very bad at their job. Like, and I get it. You got to have like that, like, I'll get you next time. But it's like, also, these are hardened criminals, apparently. They should be able to, you're not Batman, okay? You can't, they're supposed to go to the fucking slammer. Also, Big Boss having a pet weasel, great character design. Because you could have easily given him, like, I don't know, a big Rottweiler dog. But giving him a cybernetic weasel, because that's what you would call, like, Frankie the Weasel over here. He's always snitching or something like that, but he's got a weasel. It's great.
Yeah,
there is stuff to love about this show if it were animated better.
In where they invested where it counts, right?
Yeah.
Like they have great character design and that opening sequence, and so it grabs you. It like it's something that has stuck with me for 30 years, but none of the episodes did. Like it's written like garbage and then animated relatively poorly. Although I did watch an episode with a circus.
The crime circus, yeah.
The crime circus, and then there's these robots with like that are just cutting holes with their eyes through like metal, and that stuff is actually pretty. Like some of the animation is okay in it. It's just that it's not really compelling. Right? Like it's okay. The writing's okay. I'm sure it worked on kids. I'd give it a solid 6 out of 10 for that episode's writing. And it was a Dr. Bad Vibes episode, and I love Dr. Bad Vibes. I can't get enough of Dr. Bad Vibes.
Can we talk about Dr. Bad Vibes for a minute?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, me and Ben have talked, and we, this is maybe
we got questions about Dr. Bad Vibes.
This is maybe okay. So Dr. Bad Vibes is like the queer character of the era. It's like how they did, like, people say, oh, like Disney villains were queer coded. He's that.
Mm-hmm.
He's a queer coded villain.
Like, I cannot tell the difference between I could not tell Dr. Bad Vibe's gender at all. Like, what? Dr. Bad Vibes with voice actor sounds like a woman. He's got an earring, sort of looks like a grandma. And then in the first episode with Dr. Bad Vibes, there's that little girl who they keep misgendering as a little boy. And then
that was probably just
bad
direction on the voice acting.
No, it just she would be like, "I'm a
yeah." That might have been like, "What are we gonna do with this?"
And then the misgendered little girl who doesn't want to be a little boy wants to grow up to be a girl cop. At the end of the episode, sort of finds respite with Dr. Bad Vibes, who's going to give her money, betray the cops and I'll give you a gold bar. And she's like, hey, that sounds like a good idea. But like, there's something going on there and they don't do anything with it. But there is a little bit of like, and of course, it's Obedi, the Boston racist cop that breaks them down with Hardtop, the dumbest cop alive. They're the ones who go at the dynamic duo of Street Child and Dr. Bad Vibes. But it's a bit weird.
And I like Bad Vibes is because, well, I mean, the name is insanely good.
I love it.
And the characters are amazing. Those glasses are, I've seen anything else like them in a show, or even what they are is kind of strange. They don't resemble anything you can actually buy. But I like Dr. Bad Vibes because he's one of the only villains that isn't just a hack. Like, he's in it for malicious reasons, right? Like, he's not just like he's like, and I want it to be in the service of evil for profit. Like,
yeah,
that's probably the most evil thing you could do. Just, I want to be evil for money.
Yes. I really like in that episode that you're talking about where the circus clown robs that one guy and it scares the security guard. And then he sees the face in the circus, and he's like, "There it is!" And then Hardtop with his amazing detective was like, "I bet you the circus might have something to do with this." It's like, "Oh, you think?"
Hardtop is comically stupid. Like, how they're not sending their best. Yeah,
it's actually good writing if they're giving him those. If you give him the
if he's supposed to be an incompetent cop, not cock. Great writing. Also, does anyone know what the Crooks acronym is? I was kind of obsessed with searching that because the cops they're an acronym, but crooks are too. And the closest I came up with was criminal, roughneck, often outlawed kind. But I know that that's not it.
Criminals running over our kinetic specialists.
Oh, no.
There's professional writing at its finest.
Well, I get paid the big bucks.
There you go.
Also, Dr. Bad Vibes is in Justice Warriors.
Really?
I believe in the trade paperback, which I assume everyone is going to go out and purchase who's listening to this episode. I hope that in the digital description, or the doodly as they call it sometimes, that there'll be a nice Simon & Schuster link to our beautiful book. In the trade paperback, it's a chapter, or if you get the floppies, who gets the floppies? I don't think those even exist anymore. It's issue 3. There's little Dr. Bad Vibes in a riot scene in the back. And then there's even a auditorium full of cops in Justice Warriors. There's all of these insane panels, which took me way too long to draw, of hundreds and hundreds of characters. And the cops are having a meeting in Justice Warriors, and every single cast member of the show C.O.P.S is in that crowd.
Nice. Okay.
So it's like a Wells Waldo kind of.
There's a lot of Where's Waldo elements to Justice Warriors. You can find Eon Flux, the Major from Ghost in the Shell, a lot of Robert Crumb characters, Daniel Klaus characters. I forget who else goes in the book. Love and Rockets characters. I really like Love and Rockets.
The world of Justice Warriors, it's so over the top that it's like in all mutants, they're like, they can be anything, right? There's like a telephone mutant. You can be like Crumb, look like Robert Crumb drew you. You can be like a Toon, like they have Toons and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So it's like the wildest world we could come up with. I was looking while Ben was talking, and I back of the package for the Cops, Crooks, Criminals, and it doesn't appear that Crooks is a acronym.
Oh, well, it should be. Damn it.
My version is canon.
Yeah, there we go.
Criminals running over our kinetic specialists.
But Joel, I believe it's time to go to your new reoccurring segment, reviews that uphold justice and reviews that take bribes.
Ooh, Andrew, that's
right.
That's a good one.
I make those up every episode. That's why it's his new reoccurring segment. I don't know which episode we started doing this, but I have to make one up now, every time now.
So I'm kind of surprised IMDb has this thing rated a 7 out of 10 with 1.5K reviews, basically.
Oh, those are nostalgia fluffed.
Every single person just got to the opening sequence and then stopped.
That must have happened because there was no like low star reviews to this thing. It's all people just singing its praise. So there's not a lot of 10s. I really think most people just did 7, 8, or 9s. But really this one, it's called Oh My God, How Did I Miss This? Cops is one of the 80s classics that I did not catch when I was young. Heard about it here and there, and the previews looked nice. When I finally heard that Richard Reynes, Phil Barlow, and Dwayne Capazzi, who were behind the development of the brilliant and amazing Extreme Ghostbusters series, were also involved in Cops, I went ahead and bought some tapes. The series is downright impressive, mature, and highly polished. The characters are all very nice and interesting. All in all, an excellent production. Perhaps if it had a movie preceding it, it would have been as well known as the also good, although slightly overrated, The Real Ghostbusters. Also directed by Richard Reynes. It is, which it compares favorably against. All of them are certainly the better ones of the 80s.
That guy is lying to himself.
That this is better than The Real Ghostbusters?
No, because The Real Ghostbusters is also terrible, but he's just lying to himself that it was good at all.
Nostalgia, man.
Yeah, no, it's a disease.
He's a criminal. He's a diseased, degenerate criminal, high on super meth. Review bombing IMDb.
The case of the
bad review.
No, get it.
The case of the nostalgia Neo Bomber.
The case of the Malaysian IMDb review.
Yeah. The fact that it has 1.7K reviews at all is pretty impressive on its own. Yeah. Most of them being positive sounds incredibly sus. But I believe that wraps up our episode on Cops. Yep. Ben, Matt, you want to sell out your comic before we get to our closing thoughts?
If you've listened to over a half-hour podcast on Cops, I think you would honestly like Justice Warriors, our comic. That's really what I got to say. Yeah.
it's sincerely good. It's highly reviewed. It not by Malaysian bots on IMDb. Real human beings enjoyed the book, and please check it out. You can find like the first chapter on IGN if you search for it. If you want to read the first chapter first, it's we're really proud of it. It's funny. I think it's really well drawn.
They even solve a little more crime than the Central Organization of Police Specialists, which is to say more than zero.
Yeah, they don't just release criminals back onto the street. They shoot them in the face.
How
There
it
you
should
go.
be.
Real justice.
But at the end, they say the cases aren't closed because the people who committed the crimes are have not been arrested.
Running rampant in the streets. Yeah.
They're closing all their cases and never arresting the actual criminals who they witness committing the crimes. It's maybe a high level indictment of our criminal policing system.
Yep.
I need a superintendent like in The Wire who's just looking at all the red on the board and being like, we got to get our clearance rate up, guys. My God, the mayor is coming down on me.
I did want to ask you guys, because who is doing the art? Are you guys both doing the art to the comic?
I do the covers and the majority of the interior art.
Okay.
And Matt draws in floppy comics. They're called backup pages. But there's sometimes where Matt will go in on my work and add some stuff to panels, and we sort of trade off on art, but we have like our own little spaces to do it. So we share a lot of it. And Matt has his own covers as well because he does variant covers. But we try to share both the writing and the art on the book because it really is like a 50-50 collaboration.
Gotcha. There was one scene early in it, maybe just in the first few pages. I don't want to ruin what scene it is. I'll just say you had the word crunch in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what you guys did with that crunch, it blew my mind. I was like, this is awesome. This art style, what y'all guys did with each letter. Oh, I fell in love with the comic there.
That's all Ben, and that is great. And it's not much of a spoiler because it happens so early in the book.
Well, yeah.
But and the sound effect is what you're referring to, and it's really well done by Ben. And I'm just going to say, because it doesn't sound like you've read it the whole way through yet. We build up to, there's a couple great scenes in it that rival that crunch, but there's a double page spread that comes that, and then there's a great page turn, and it I won't spoil it. Say, if you thought the crunch was cool, Ben has done a lot of really eye popping shit in this book.
Excellent.
Yeah, it looks great, and I use a lot of animation techniques throughout the comic book too, because I'm primarily an animator. I got wrangled into drawing a comic book, which I really like. It's nice. It's easier than animation, so there's a lot of nice motion. I honestly, I sound biased. I think it's the best comic book ever made, and you're basically printing money for yourself by buying it. So
find it at your local comic book shop today, and if they don't got it, make them order it.
Yes, exactly. With force.
Tell them Andrew from Cartoon Dumpster Dive sent you. They'll know who it is.
Andrew knows all the comic book owners. The comic book shop.
Everyone
owners.
Across the nation and up in Canada, where our guests are from. But I believe, what are your closing thoughts on C.O.P.S, Joel?
We've already said it. Animate the intro. That's kind of where the show just stops. So you want to get the full effect. Just look up the intro, spend 2 minutes, watch that, and be like, you know what? That was a great show, and never watch the rest of the show.
It is all on 100%. Tubi. And I'm pretty sure if you got this action figure at a kid, this is also the category of show we like to call your drunk uncle bought you a birthday gift at the pharmacy. That's where the C.O.P.S action figures were sold. But yeah, I'm in the same boat.
No, yeah, this is you. I had Mace, and this is why you had like 1 or 2 Cops and Crooks figures in your big bin.
Yeah,
of, like,
your big toy bin.
Ninja Turtles. Yeah.
It's like, where did you get this? Did you just buy this on the way? No, I didn't buy it all the way. I'm your uncle. I love you. Shut up. I'll take it back. How about that shit? Something like that.
I have like a deep-seated memory of getting Krang at a pharmacy that you just awakened in me because I didn't know where that memory was or why I was there with my mother, but now I know.
We get that a lot on this show. They're like, core memory unlocked.
Yeah, I remember getting the Krang figure.
Well, if you would like to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/cartoondd. There we have a $5 tier that gets you stickers, pins, extended audio episodes, bonus episodes, and access to our Discord. We have a website, cartoondumpsterdive.com, where you can request a show or have 2 cartoons go head-to-head in our Junkyard Brawl. We have an X handle, Cartoon DD. We are Cartoon Dumpster Dive on every other social media platform. And as always, we appreciate a 5-star review on the podcasting platform of your choice, so we don't have to go result to a life of crime. Crime's a wasting. Have a great rest of your week.
See you.
This has been a Lug Hole podcast.